Hey everybody, just want to do a quick update on the 2020 Python. Thought you might be interested in hearing what some time and extra rounds and shooting it has done to the trigger pull, how it's been holding up. Notice that we're clear. Close the cylinder. So my initial thoughts stand and remain. We've got a real deal Python here. Single action pull, and I just checked it on my Lyman. We're down to about 3.5 pounds. It's half a pound lower than stock, and it was 6.8 on the double action. One thing that's surprising, though, I can't believe the number of trolls that are out there trying to discredit these new pythons. And some of these folks I don't think have even laid hands on one, let alone shot one. But Colt did a very good job with these. And this is coming from someone who's owned 20, 25 pythons of all vintage. My brother's probably owned 40. My dad's had 15. I've had them new in box, multiples, plus pre-69 iframe troopers. And I could tell you this is a real deal. So chances are, yeah, I've owned a bunch of them, probably more than many of you out there to form that opinion, and I paid for it with my own money. So I just make a suggestion. If you have a problem with your Colt, call Colt. They will get it fixed for you if it indeed is an issue. Just recall the first version had a lighter V-leaf spring in it. And with some of the European 38 Special and 357, the hard primers weren't igniting reliably. So they put a heavier spring in it. And if you've ever been inside the side plate of a Colt, if you've ever done work on Colts, you'll know there's a hand in here that moves the cylinder. If that side plate gets loose, that's what holds it on. It can throw off the dimensions. So Colt made a manufacturing and QC change where they actually use a torque wrench and blue Loctite on that side plate. And did the same thing happen to old Colt revolvers? Yes, it did, and it could. So I'd recommend, if there's any other issues, make sure. I had an issue where I had a primer that kind of exploded and it left a little debris underneath the ejector. It was just enough to prevent the cylinder from going back into place, and the double and single action pulls were very hard. Just make sure when you clean these things, the tolerances are very tight. Get in there with a brush, scrub, and scrub after every session. You don't want any debris in here, any powder fouling. You know, the tight tolerances come with a price. You got to keep these things clean. So that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I'm probably 600 rounds through here. Most of those being full house 357 Magnum. Maybe 100 being 38 Special wad cutters just to plink around with. But you know, I'm shooting full Magnums through this thing. And it's holding up just fine. One thing that I did do in the past, I had a shooter, mid-70s bright nickel that I bought in the early 90s for $350. It was a beautiful Python and a real tight cylinder to barrel gap. And I'd shoot that sucker for years every time I took it to the range. And I shot it at a time numerous times. But in those days, it wasn't a big deal to take it to a local gunsmith and they'd retime it, replace parts. Those days are over. You're lucky to find a good Colt gunsmith. So take my advice, buy the new one. It's easier to send it off to Colt. It's got a warranty. Have a good one, everybody.